All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Zoe. I'm a first-year scholar majoring in public administration policy with a neuroscience minor. And this is my overview of my first year at UTSA. On the agenda, we have the three pillars: knowledge, leadership, and service. Also going to talk about some things that didn't go so well this year. And I hear there might be a special halftime performance. Don't know what that's about. Okay, first we have knowledge. I really think that this year set up the way I want to be living and learning with people these next 2 years at UTSA. So first we have the Nurturing Hope Student Leadership Academy. I got to be with a group of students from different zip codes, backgrounds, faith traditions, from UTSA, Trinity, and Northwest Vista. And basically what we got to do is attend all these events and workshops where we learn about having empathy for one another's perspectives, backgrounds, and what we all bring to the table. And we're going to celebrate that in what can be a very polarized world sometimes. And I also really appreciate this program because going into it, I think that I couldn't really drive more than 20 minutes away from my house without getting lost. Even though I've lived in San Antonio my whole life, I didn't feel like I really knew the city yet. So I'm really appreciative for all the events I got to attend throughout the city, including Know Your Neighbors Your Tabling event with HEB Butt Foundation, an interfaith Ramadan dinner, and my favorite was this workshop at the Blue Star Contemporary with Professor Mark Manjavar. We got to explore his Memorations exhibit, which had this collection of stories from around the state of Texas. And he also had us just like sit in a circle, and he gave us his note cards and he said, I want you to complete the statement, I am for a future where, and then we just like shared out. We were all just sitting at the table eating pizza in a museum, talking about what we dream for the city and the world. And I was like, this is exactly how we should be learning from each other and building our city. Next, we have leadership. I really enjoyed this experience. I not only learned a lot about myself as a leader, but I got to learn about the people I was with really quickly, we got really close in a short amount of time. And it was basically just this celebration of learning about different leadership styles, stories, and the visions that we all bring to the table. My favorite thing that we did was, I think the prompt was, if you could do anything for the world at all, what would you do? And so we wrote down basically our dreams for the world on these big sheets of paper and posted them around the room and did a gallery walk. And I just remember thinking how appreciative I was that we took time to value one another's stories and what we want to see in our future. Because in policy, I think you could kind of get caught up in when you have a plan, how am I going to implement this? How's the evaluation process going to work? And all those logistical things. So it was just a really nice reminder that sometimes it doesn't always have to be that complicated. It can be as simple as sitting down with one another and learning each other's stories. And then lastly, I did take my first honors class this semester, a civic leadership seminar with Professor Emma Tangelo. I definitely learned a lot from her classes this year, including how to participate in dialogues, craft deliberation guides, and civic action planning, which is something that actually became very important to me this semester, which I'll elaborate a little bit more later on in my presentation. So my favorite thing that we got to do through this class was our service learning project, the Living Library. So we invited 8th graders from Cass Middle School to have conversations with these books, which were community and nonprofit leaders from around San Antonio. And they basically just had to have these one-on-one conversations with these leaders. It was a really unique opportunity to see local leadership being inspired within young students. All right, look at that, it's halftime. So this year, I got to fulfill a goal I've had since I was 9 years old, which is to become a collegiate twirler for a Division I school. And I think I always kind of thought that once I had achieved this label, that like all of my doubts about myself as a twirler would just kind of disappear. Though that was not really the case. It was a huge learning curve for me to transition to field twirling. I was alongside all these really accomplished seasoned college twirlers, performing in front of thousands and thousands of people. So I wasn't wrong technically about college twirling being the thing to kind of like ease my perfectionism, but not in the way I expected of being like learning to be the best in the room, but rather like learning how to have fun with people, which is something that Sosa really taught me how to do. I honestly think that before this, my favorite thing about twirling was winning, if I'm being completely honest with you. So having that transition from like not only doing it for myself, but like being on a team with other people and having our priority be celebrating what we have here at UTSA and creating this sense of togetherness really was very freeing for me. And those are my 3 favorite shows that I got to participate in that kind of like helped me learn that. First, we got Sosa Crew. So that is a game where we invite middle school and high school twirlers to join us on the field during halftime, which was something especially meaningful to me because that's something I did in high school, and it's really what made me realize that I want UTSA to be on my college list. And then we had So Mean, which was our Halloween show, which was the most fun I've probably ever had twirling. We had so much fun. We had 400 kids on the field doing the Michael Jackson's Thriller. It really brought us together and really proved my point of like having fun is like why we're all here. And then I also did get to attend a bowl game in Dallas the day after Christmas. All right, transitioning into leadership and service, I had the honor of reviving the Public Administration Student Organization this past year and being vice president. And through this opportunity, I kind of got to create that community and resources that I really wish I had going to public admin. I didn't really know anyone in the major or know how to like get into networking and find internships. I just had no idea what I was doing. But through this, we kind of got to like have that chance to build a community of people who could nerd out about advocacy and policy together, which I really appreciate having that and being able to treat that for other people. And we also have some really cool events that make professional opportunities more accessible. We had this one social at the Roost combined with a LinkedIn workshop, and we called it LinkedIn Level Up, which I think was awesome. And then we also had a lot of really cool networking opportunities, including a breakfast with Judge Nelson Wolf and some mixers. So I'm very excited to continue growing and developing our mission here and our presence on UTSA during these next 3 years. I think that a lot more visibility needs to be brought to public admin. All right, next, this semester, I had the honor of being an equity and advocacy research intern for Wild at Heart San Antonio. They are a nonprofit organization working to advocate for accessibility and equity environmental education by providing these free nature-based learning programs to young kids and their families here in the city. And I got to do a lot of really cool things, one of them being grant writing, which I did not, when I first got assigned that task, think it was going to be meaningful to me. I remember my supervisor telling me, I want you to draft a letter to these grocery donors for our morning programs and tell them why we need these donations. And then she told me to either call them on the phone or go in person. And I was like, what do you mean I just can't send an email? But the first time doing that, I realized, okay, this is the whole point is to like, when you do this kind of work, you have to collaborate, you have to create this shared sense of purpose with your community. And whether it makes you uncomfortable or not, that takes building one-on-one connections. I also got a really unique opportunity to look into equity mapping through a larger organization known as the Children in Nature Network and get us more involved in the advocacy side of things. Though I will admit I did have to take a step back from this because I realized I was kind of losing sight of the main purpose here, which was to learn from this like limited opportunities to interact with the program participants and learn their stories and see how like I can best listen to people and learn about being present. So once I did that, the in-person part of this job quickly became my favorite part. I remembered how much I enjoy working with kids and really do think I want that to be something I continue in my career for the rest of my life. Over there on the far right was a speaker that we invited from the San Antonio River Authority. And after he was done with his whole presentation, I asked him about what he did, and he told me that he's an educational outreach coordinator for the organization. And he was explaining how he gets to both do in-person presentations with kids and interact with them, but also be involved on the policy and advocacy side of things. And I think that's pretty much the perfect description of what I want to be doing with it. So we'll see where that goes. I'm thinking about double majoring in education, exciting things. Yes, and stickers. I had the opportunity to use some of my enrichment funding for a sticker maker this past year. And not only is that awesome, but we also got to use it to help a lot of people. Through this, we got to celebrate our first responders through making over 200 cards with stickers of my dogs and delivering them to the San Antonio Public Safety Answering Point over Telecommunicators Week. And I'm really proud of what we did here. I think it was a really unique opportunity to educate ourselves on a group that is not often noticed and show them that we appreciate them. It reminded me that connection is not always something that is super major. It can be something as simple as stickers and creating a shared sense of joy in your community. And I also presented this at my first ELF, which I learned this morning that it was second in my engaged living category, so nice surprise. Oh, and I also had the honor of being a fellow in the Change Collective. It is a national leadership fellowship existing in 5 cities, including San Antonio. And basically what they do is empower leaders at the local level to carry out this civic action plan in their community and unite professionals, students across sectors to do this and create a collective change. So I had the honor of creating a civic action plan this semester. Many whiteboards were filled, many late nights. So I'm not going to quite share the details yet, but please ask me within the next month and I would be happy to share everything with you. But I also really want to thank Jonah through this process. I remember learning about this program and wanting to apply to it, and out of nowhere, I saw him repost on his LinkedIn the link to apply. And I reached out to him and I was like, I know we've never met and I know you're in Africa, but can you tell me a little bit about this? And he just went above and beyond to help me. He offered to help me edit my application. He read my civic action plan, he even nominated me for the program after he did that. And it just gave me a stronger sense of how I want to be here for people. Knowing that I'm going to be a sophomore next year and have people looking up to me. And that's really what it means to give back to this community. All right, I know this slide might seem a little unserious, but I am about to mention some pretty serious topics related to mental health, so just a fair warning there. But I do think that it's important to talk about some of the things that didn't go so well this year, because this is my end of year presentation and not everything that was shiny and pretty that happened this year. But first, on the bottom of the pyramid, we have my first C, which happened last semester. And this was totally avoidable. I was sick for 3 days and didn't really understand the whole attendance policy, so that happened. But though I don't think it was a completely fair process, it did remind me that I do need to take more action to communicate with my professors, even though I think I might know exactly what's going on. I also will be doubling my vitamin C intake and printing out my syllabuses and hanging the attendance policy above my bed from now on so that does not happen again. And then this semester, I also dealt with a lot of burnout and not the best time management. I experienced what is known as double depression. If you don't know what that is, quick psychology lesson. I have struggled with persistent depressive disorder since I was a kid. And on top of that, this semester, I had a major depressive disorder. So it was hard to let alone get out of bed and brush my teeth some days, let alone keep up with all of these crazy things I had committed myself to. But it was truly a wake-up call to see that I need to start making some changes to actually have like a well-balanced school life balance. Because if I don't do that right now, then that's going to keep repeating itself throughout these next years. So we're making some changes. I'm now scheduling my Google Calendar, not only all my commitments, but time to eat, therapy, time to sleep, making some changes. Also, despite this was a pretty hard year, had a lot of fun. Just want to thank everyone in these pictures and not for all the memories that I made this year. So what's next? This summer, I will be studying abroad in Costa Rica through the Honors College. And after that, I'm hoping to be a volunteer with Project Transformation Rio, Texas, the Children's Literacy Program. I'm also looking into opportunities to volunteer with the educational team at the Start Contemporary and San Antonio River. So overall, I'm just very excited to continue exploring my newfound interest in education. And thank you to everybody on the slide and for listening to my presentation today.
Well, I'll get us started. So good job. It seems like you had a very full first year. I want to ask about the neuroscience minor. Tell me about how that works with your major and the things that you seem, to really be passionate about.
So obviously mental health has always been a huge part of my life. And I just kind of wanted to delve more into that and seeing also how I can bring that knowledge and bring it back to the communities that I'm in. I do have a huge passion for mental health literacy and self-advocacy, something I'm kind of hoping to implement within the Change Collective. So yes, I do plan to move forward with that.
All right. Well, again, it seems like you had a good year. I would like to encourage you to just, stay connected to your scholar community too. And time will fly. fast. Time will fly fast, so. Yeah, other folks in the room have comments or thoughts for Zoe?
Out of all the activities you did this past year, what was your favorite activity? And kudos, you did a lot for your first year. Super.
I honestly don't know. I think all of them together kind of make this whole like picture of like building up who I want to be, and like it's not like one singular activity, but like every day I learn a little bit more about myself, and like through all these activities all together like come together. Learn a little bit more. Yeah.
So I just want to say that we're all really proud of you and you've accomplished so much. I didn't even know the extent of it, but it's a lot and you should be proud of yourself. I love every time I talk to you, like interacting with your like chaotic energy. It's so fun and yeah. Good job.
So I just want to say that I love getting to know you a lot more over spending our time at Leadership, and I can't wait for our 9-day trip to Costa Rica together.
I love like being your friend and seeing you and how you've grown. I remember talking about like hearing your internship and how things going and how like your life is very luxurious, but yet even though like you're still doing things that you love and you're still trying to find that pace to like make that balance still, which is really important. And I think you learn as you do more things. And I also love hearing like your passion for education, how like that's grown and how you're figuring out and discovering yourself more through everything you do.
I wanted to ask, like, out of all the courses you've taken, like across like neuroscience and also currently right now, which one has like been your favorite?
Well, I can tell you about something I'm really looking forward to next semester. Okay, so I mentioned during my elementary club spiel that I did a workshop with Professor Mike Menjivar, and he's actually a professor here at UTSA. So I will be taking his class at Imagining San Antonio next semester, which I'm very excited to continue learning from him, like being in the community. I think that's exactly how I want to be setting myself up.